So you're Ted. I've heard so much about you. I'm Rod. TEDx, yeah? Because I'm Rod, X for Xavier. It's like two X's meeting. That's not always so good, actually. I tell you what, seeing as we don't know each other, even though I know some of you, let's for the next 10 minutes embark on a relationship together. I'm going to talk to you about three things, the three genres of literature. I'm going to talk about narrative, poetry, so it'll be a bit of a romance. And at the end, I'm going to mention briefly about drama. They sound terribly old-fashioned, but I'm going to argue that in actual fact, they're still in front of us. They're still in the future because we haven't accommodated them yet. Speaking of drama, this is the spot. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this son of York. That's actually the Laurence Olivier version, because I can't do a Kevin Spacey voice. I can do a Christopher Walken voice, but my wife says it's awful, so I won't do it. The ice is going to break. That's a pun from Richard III. When he says, this sun brings the summer, he means Edward IV, who is the son of the House of York, who has become King of England. And this is good for him because it means he can do bad thing to other people. Shakespeare loves puns. He really likes sun puns. In Hamlet, Claudius, Hamlet's uncle, who has murdered Hamlet's father, the king, and Hamlet knows this, says to Hamlet, Hamlet, why do these clouds hang upon you so? And Hamlet says, it's not so, my lord, I am too much in the sun. He means, of course, I'm in the sunshine, but he means I'm the son of the man you murdered. I'm watching you. Like this, huh? Puns are great. The Irish farmer is outstanding in his field. Thank you. I have a physics colleague in Cornell. He's working on an anti-gravity theory, but it let him down. Is Abdullah El-Zafarani in the house? He's an Egyptian student I have, troublemaker. I was doing James Joyce. James Joyce's story, Araby, and I said to the class, clearly you don't understand this story. You've got to read it again. And he said, you mean we have to read Joyce? Which I thought was very clever, you know? Very clever, these Cornell students. In Ireland, in a store called Arnott's, there's a sign beside the escalator. It says, dogs must be carried on the escalator. You think it makes sense? I mean, particularly if it's a little dog, like a Paris Hilton type Chihuahua, you know, and it's on the escalator and goes up and the truss goes up and gone. Just like a ball of fur. That would be bad, so you should carry your dog. But I thought it could also mean dogs must be carried on the escalator. In other words, you need to have a dog to go up the escalator. No dog, no access. Apparently, so Irish dogs go woof. It's like meaningless. But I'm told that Arab dogs go how. So it's like sit, how. Very smart. Here's something else that I really like. They're not necessarily puns, but nonetheless, they're words that are double. Like a pun, because a pun is a double meaning. What's very interesting about a lot of language is that the double meaning is opposite. They're the antithesis of each other. For example, the word supplement. The word supplement means that something is missing. You go to the doctor, he says, you need more iron. I'm giving you this iron supplement because you're deficient in iron. But the word supplement also means too much. What's with all this paper? Oh, it's supplementary. So the same word means not enough and too much. Another word like this is subject, the word subject. It means I'm a subject, I'm autonomous, I am individual, I am on my own, I am free. At the same time that it means that you are, say, the subject of a king. You are at least subject to the power of another. Pharmakon, an original Greek word for illness, describes both the illness and the cure. The same word for the sickness and the cure. What's interesting with these words is that we silence one meaning in order to accommodate the other one. And I'm very interested in the stories that get silenced. I'm going to quote a poem for you from, part of a poem from an Irish author. So all the great authors in the English language are Irish, including Shakespeare. But that's a different talk. Well, let's face it, nobody knew anything about him. He lived in England, he was keeping his head down, he was a genius. Yeats from Leda and the Swan. A sudden blow, the great wings beating still above the staggering girl. He holds her helpless breast upon his breast. A shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, the burning roof and tower, and Agamemnon dead. I should explain. Have you seen the movie Troy? Yeah, so you know who Agamemnon is? So Agamemnon, immortality! That's Achilles. But Agamemnon was the son of Leda. Zeus was a god, and Zeus was attracted to Leda. Leda repelled his advances. Zeus took the shape of a swan in order to woo her in this poem. She gave birth to Agamemnon. So in the line, in this one line, a shudder in the loins engenders there the broken wall, the burning tower, and Agamemnon dead, is Agamemnon's conception and his death in the same 10 words. Not one or the other, but both together. This is something that poetry can do. People say, metaphor, yeah, substitution, he's a flower, he's not really a flower, she's not really a flower. Say, no, metaphor is an incredibly powerful thing because what it reveals is the doubleness of language and therefore the doubleness of our existence. Now, the problem is that narrative keeps metaphor in check. Narrative is a great thing. Storytelling is a great thing. I mean, we need stories in order to know what we're doing. It's the fundamental organizing principle of our lives, the whole structure of narrative. I am here right now because it's Saturday at whatever time, and I know to be here. So without narrative, we wouldn't have a sense of structure. But I'm going to propose to you today that sometimes the structure of narrative is too unwieldy. It's too inflexible. I want you to think about this. Think about when you were born. Do you remember? Nobody remembers. Sometimes people go, yeah, I remember, yeah. It was dark, and then, someone was slapping me around. I wanted to go back. Yeah. No, seriously, some people remember. Seriously, some people remember. I don't know when I'll die. I could be dying now. Academic tries to be funny, dies on stage. But you know what I mean? Like, really, as opposed to metaphorically, if we can make that difference. So therefore, I don't know. I don't remember when I was born. I don't know when I'll die. So I don't know when I'm in the middle of my story, and yet we tell it like a story. We hold fast to this linear story. Yes, I did this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I aced all my classes in school, and that's why I'm in med school, and I'm going to be a doctor, which is great. But I suggest to you that it limits our ability to see into the future. It limits our ability, like metaphor, to travel through time. Now, what do I mean by time travel? Do I mean that I can leave here now and go into the future and freak myself out? No, of course not. Because even though quantum physics, as a law of probability, doesn't discount such a possibility, it's highly unlikely. And certainly, if I was somehow to traverse the space-time continuum like that and turn up and go, wah, to myself, everything might implode. Certainly, I would go mad. Or if I didn't go mad, at least people would think I'd gone mad. I just met myself in the lift. So no, I don't mean that I can go into the future and freak myself out. But yes, I do. I do mean that. Because think about this. In order to know ourselves, we know ourselves because we know about ourselves knowing ourselves. There is a self-reflexive moment. We can think about ourselves thinking. I'm thinking about myself thinking now. Now I'm thinking about myself thinking. Get on with the show, Rod. Okay. As opposed to if we didn't have that self-reflexive capacity, nothing. Yeah. And also, in that self-reflexive capacity, it's built into the future. It has a perception of the future. When I woke up this morning at 7 o'clock and went, oh my God, and ran to the dining room table and started scribbling notes for this talk, I did that knowing in a few hours I would be standing here now talking to you. It's going okay. It's going okay. It's going fine. I'll go back to bed. Yeah. So, I'm saying yes to double you. I mean, yes to two versions of you. A you that knows yourself. I'm also saying yes to the letter W. So you can say, wow, I can see into the future. How? Be a poet. Think double. Be flexible in your approach to the way you tell stories. Don't tell stories that accommodate the other, particularly the one that doesn't have the story told. And prepare for eventualities. Because, of course, it goes without saying, we can't know exactly what will happen to us in our future. And there are things that happen that we are never ready for. It's funny, if good things happen, people go, oh yeah, well, I kind of knew, you know. It's like, I won the lottery, yeah, but I've worked very hard. But if bad things happen, people say, I really never anticipated that. And I propose to you that it's bad not to think about the future just because the future might be bad. Because in thinking about it, you have the chance of framing it in a more positive way. So yes to W. Yes to the W Hotel too, because you know what? Ah, seriously. It is 219 paces from my front door into the lobby of the W Hotel. It's the best thing that happened to me in Doha, I'd say. I'll go to the W. And you know, in the W as well, I think they employ the population of a small country to work in the lobby, meeting and greeting people. Have you noticed that? Hello, sir. Hello, hello, hello. And you're like, are you staying here? No, we all work here. The guests are hiding out in the bedrooms. You flee into the elevator. Oh. Briefly, I digress. I want to talk to you about drama. Drama is double. The very origins of drama were built on the need in ancient Greece 2,500 years ago to accommodate Apollo, the god of order, and Dionysus, the god of chaos. And we see this in the earliest form of Greek drama. In the Bacchae by Euripides, for example, Pentheus believes he's all rational, he's all modern, he's all progressive. And at his door are the Bacchae, who are at the door because they haven't been allowed in. And Pentheus says, I am above you. And then, in the end, he loses his head, literally and metaphorically. Oedipus, too, thinks that as king, he is above the possibility that his life could be turned upside down by the story that he's not aware of. And I know what you guys say, we're talking 2,500 years ago, give me a break. But I put it to you, have you seen Saw 4? Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen Human Caterpillar? Yeah. Yeah. Have you read Oedipus Rex? Because that's a bad day. What ancient Greek drama did was it accommodated the other. It allowed you to think, it presented for us a world that is not normally presented. I want you as poets to go on and think double. I want you to think about the next time you weep when you receive this wonderful piece of new technology that can do 101 different things. I want you to think about the story of the people who made it and the route that it took to get to you and what they're doing now. And we know in the Middle East that the stories are changing and that you, all the young dudes, are changing stories. But we know in the Middle East there are some stories that are not told. There are official stories and silent stories. They're the stories we have to bear witness to. And there's the ongoing, constant story of Africa. We will go from massive finger food, it could be a 5-course buffet, and we know that in sub-Saharan Africa there are people who are starving or people who die for a lack of clean water. We haven't got those stories right, but you guys can get those stories right. And this is what you need to do. You need to act, which is the other part of drama. And of course, like everything else, it's double. What does it mean to act? You say, well, it means to pretend, you know, to be insincere. Let's examine that a little bit. You're a different person to the person you are when you're sitting at home with your parents. You're a different person to the person you are when you're sitting with your closest friends. You're a different person to the other people when you come to my office looking for an essay extension and it's all too much. You're a different person when you're at graduation and the dean is putting something around your neck and taking a photograph. Are any of these versions of you false? Are they any of these inauthentic? Any of them not real? I put it to you that in actual fact, you are the sum total of all these performances. There's nothing dissimulating. There's nothing inauthentic about acting. It's what we do. And of course, the other side of the term to act is to do something positive, something potentially transformative. And like everything else, It's double. And most people say, yeah, but I'm shy. I don't like speaking in public. I don't like doing things like that. My favorite speech, my favorite lines from a speech are Nelson Mandela's inauguration speech from Johannesburg in 1994. He began by saying, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. So I put it to you, those of you who think, oh, I can't be the one who acts. It's double, and you're a lion. Thank you.